Imagine, oh my God. It's amazing what God will do if you just yield yourself and allow yourself to go through that moment until the very end, and then you will see the great power of God over your life. Yes.
Karibu sana.
Wow, thank you so much. I hope I am audible enough, and I pray to God that my internet will be good. Wow, I am so excited to be part of this. Kindly forgive me if my voice is a bit hoarse, and also forgive me with Laura's permission. I also requested my video not to be on simply because as the introduction has said, thank you so much, everyone, and thank you for the moderator. That was an amazing introduction. I'm in the middle of a mentorship program that I've been doing this whole month. And by God's grace, I've been through 7 counties. I'm on the 7th county right now, which is Nakuru County. And I'm in the interior parts of Nakuru County where there's no running water, there's no electricity. So it's a bit hectic where I am. So allow me not to have the internet, I mean, the video on. And second, I've been talking all day, so my voice is hoarse. As I said, I'm in the middle of mentorship programs that I'm running, that I've been running for this whole week. So today I've really done a lot of talking, and tomorrow I also have another one. So by God's grace, I'm even sitting awake right now because my body just want to give up and sleep. But I thank God. And Laura, we go way back with her. There's no way I would have missed this session for the world. I am so excited about her wins. I am so blessed to have known her. And I am also blessed to be part of this amazing team. May God bless all of you. And now, mentorship. Let's talk about it in very few minutes 10. Um, by God's grace, I've managed to work on TV for 8 years in Royal Media Services. And I've been a musician, a worship leader for close to 14 years. I have authored a book also, and I also mentor women and young people. And through this journey, I've gotten to interact with young and old, and I never really knew I was mentoring them until I did it, and people were telling me, I need you to mentor me. And now let's talk about mentorship. So, what exactly is mentorship? Mentorship is guidance and support offered from an experienced individual. I thank God for all the speakers that came before me. Kina Sylvia, the lady who just left, amazing, beautiful words. And they were just saying things, even Apostle, they were saying things, and I was thinking, my God, they have read all my notes. What am I going to say? Because basically, every good leader, every talented and gifted leader, according to what Apostle told us, they must be able to know this one thing, that mentorship is at the heart and the core of being a good leader. Sylvia said that you cannot stand alone. You need to know that you will not always stand there by yourself. So you need to duplicate, if not give birth, to several parts of you in other people. And if you do not do that, then your leadership will not have bore any fruits. So mentorship is the heart of being a good leader. There's no good leader who does not want to raise a generation after them. If they do not do that, they will not have legacy. Because basically, mentorship is building legacy. That is it, simply defined. And so you need mentorship in your life because it will help you in personal growth and also professional growth. Now, why mentorship is very important and why I do it day and night, because I am transferring knowledge. You transfer knowledge, you transfer skills to other people. And that is what we've been called to do, the salt of the earth, just like Apostle said. Second, networking opportunities. You will always find that you know something that somebody else doesn't know, and you will impact this knowledge onto these people. Third, you will increase confidence and self awareness to your mentees. So when somebody knows that my mentor has my back, this person can go and do much things that even the mentor sometimes was not even courageous enough to do it in their time. So having a mentee actually gives them courage and makes them know who they are. So mentorship is very, very important. It also helps in career advancement and professional and personal growth. So you can see how important it is. So how do you mentor effectively? As a person, and a person who has really had time to mentor a lot of people, these are the several things that I've seen that are important to do while you're mentoring. You must have set goals, you know, with your mentees. Tell them what is your expectations, because most of the times when you are a leader, most people are disappointed because they had expectations which were not met. Whenever you see even the young generations going on the road and demonstrating and saying we don't like this leadership, is because when they put them in power, they had a certain expectation. When you see people divorcing and even family collapsing, they do that because their expectations were not met. I got into this union having an expectation, you be faithful to me. So when you fall short of what I expected you to do, now I feel then the mandate and the reason why I was in this union, it is not worthwhile. So that's why you find people not walking hand in hand with their mentors, walking hand in hand with their leaders. Why? Because the expectations and the goals were not met. But you cannot meet an expectation you did not know existed. That's why whenever you're working with any mentee, and even when you have a mentor, you have to know what is the expectations and then set goals. By the end of this year, that's why every even election year, you have to have a goal, a list. You said you'll do this. That's why they have a manifesto. You said you'll do this, you'll do this. Have you done it at the end of the 5 years when we talk about governance? So goals are important. Then you need to be a good listener and have good feedback. Whenever we do not have good listening and good feedback, there's always collision. People will fight because they will feel I am not being heard. And then my feedback, whatever I'm passing through to the leader or my mentor, it is not being heard. So should I follow this leader again? It's not important to me. They're not listening to me. Most of the time, when we go even on the streets as young people, most of the time we are going there to make sure that they hear us and they see us. And so, when they do not give us feedback of what we want to see and what we want them to do according to what we have said, according to the expectations we set, then there's chaos. So there needs to be good listening and feedback systems when you are a mentor. Another thing is there needs to be a provided guidance, not just answers. As a mentor, you need to guide your mentee, not always give them answer. For example, right now I'm in the process of mentoring from four leavers. I cannot go and tell them you need to do this course, you need to do this, you need to do this. I just need to first of all listen and then give them guidance. With the guidance, they will have the answers they need, because as a mentor, you'll have to actually know what my previous speaker has just said, that you do not have all the answers. So you need to be secure in that. You do not have to come there and exert what you think you know onto that mentee. No, you have to listen to them and then offer them guidance. And then with that guidance, they have to look for their own way of finding an answer to whatever they are going through. So you need to be secure as a mentor to know that this person, you might even give them guidance and they might even reject it and move on and do something else. And that will not be on you. You need to be very secure in that. Then the effectiveness of having a good mentor is because another thing, it helps in self-reflection. When you're a good mentor, you will help this mentee to reflect on themselves. That's why we said you do not give them answers. You help them reflect on who they are. Because as much as you're mentoring them, please know they cannot be mini you. They also have different fingerprints. They have different capabilities that are not identical to you as a mentor. So you need to also allow their space of their uniqueness, because you are not like them, and then they are not like you. As much as they are following your footsteps, you need to know that they are not identical to who you are. So you need to leave that space as a leader, as a mentor, for them to actually be even greater as you than you are. And every good mentor actually wants to raise better generation than he was. So we have good examples in the Bible of mentors and mentees. I want you to go look at them. We have Elijah and Elisha. You'll find their story in First Kings 19 from 19 to 21, and Second Kings from 2 or chapter 2 1 to 18. That was a good mentorship program that you can read and learn from. We also have Moses and Joshua. You can find their story in Exodus 24:13 and Numbers 27:18 to 23. I'm going fast because my time is almost done. We have another one, which is Paul and Timothy. Oh, this one I love it, because Paul took time to actually even get to know the genealogy of Timothy and do a background check on his spirituality. He said, just like your grandmother Lois and then your mother Eunice, I see the same spirit in you. And so a good mentor usually even does a good background on the mentee. I love it. In the whole Bible, that is my favorite. That is my favorite, because it shows how Paul was so articulate with Timothy, and Timothy was such a young person. Then the other one is Jesus and his disciples. That is such a good mentorship. You also see even Jesus mentoring them even how to pray. And don't make a mistake and think that these disciples did not know how to pray. They were men and they were taught with a Jews custom, and Jews custom involves prayer. So when they say Jesus teaches us how to pray, it's because they realize they are mentor. There's a way he prays and he gets results that we do not get. So teach us how to pray. You get? So this was also a very good mentorship program. Another one that I also love is Naomi and Ruth. You can find their story in the book of Ruth 1 from 1 to 4. It's a beautiful story where Ruth said, you're my mentor. Where you shall go, I will go. Your people shall become my people. And we find Naomi helping her to integrate with a new culture, new faith, and she goes in seamless. And Ruth is such a good mentee that whenever she's told, take a bath, put on good perfume, she does not question. And at the end of the day, we find a legacy being birthed out of Ruth, because Naomi was such a good mentor and Ruth was a good mentee. Now we also have bad examples of mentorship, because they are still there. Where we have one good thing, we also have another one. So we find Eli and his sons. This is a bad example of mentorship. Eli was a prophet in ancient Israel, but his sons, they were nowhere close to being prophets in that land. You will find their story in the book of 1 Samuel 2, 12, all the way to 36. These people were nowhere close to be called good mentees. Their father, either them or their father, they never did a good job. Both of them, they failed. So we also find David and Saul. Saul was the one who was supposed to actually bring and mentor David into kingship. But we find instead of him passing the baton, he's actually hitting David with the baton in the head. He's looking for him. A whole king is looking for a son in the desert. Instead of helping him to assume the throne after him, he's looking to kill him. That is a bad example, sorry, of how mentorship should not go. Then we also find David himself. He was also not a good mentor to his son Amnon.
He sins with his stepsister, but David keeps quiet. So we find that even as a leader, he did not install good leadership mentality or even good sets in that his son's life, even his other son, Absalom. He wants to overthrow his own father, David. Of course, there are other theologies that support it's a prophecy of sin because David had done other things, but still, mentorship did not come to play in that role. He should have known that it is his father's time to reign, not to take over his throne. Then the other one that we have just been told by our previous speaker is the Rehoboth and his advisors. He chose to listen to the younger council, the poorer council. So we find that he was not very well mannered. So his mentorship before that was maybe not very good because he thought he need to exert dominance more than even to bring people closer. The other one that we all know very well, a bad example of mentorship, it is Judas and Jesus. Judas was a mentee of Jesus, a follower for such a long time, and yet he's the one who betrayed his mentor. So, in this journey of mentorship, please know there are some of them who will betray you left, right, and center. And maybe those are the people who you actually invested on and you thought they were going to be the best, but instead they turn around and stab you in the back. So that will come to be, but the Lord is with you. He will guide and protect you in everything you do. Kwa hayo machache, I just want to say that if you want to be a good leader, know that mentorship is at the heart of it. You must leave the baton because we know that Elisha never mentored Gehazi. Gehazi was not a good mentee, and so he died with all his mantle and his power, such that when he was buried, his bones were powerful enough to raise a dead body. Let us not be like Elisha. Let us look for people to leave this baton because that is how we pass on these gifts that Apostle told us in us into the next generation. Laura, I thank you for putting your gifts and your power in a book because with that you will pass on the gifts that God has given you into the next generation. May God give you grace and favor. May this book be a bestseller in the world, not just in your village and not just in your town. And may God go before you. I love you with the love of God, and may you continue impacting generations. May God bless you.